suffering succotash, son.
Austin 316 says I just whipped your ass.
Riley, Randy, Jimmy. This is my yard now. Suplex City, bitch.
Let's get right into the pro wrestling portion of the show today on Willpower Radio. So if you're just tuning in to Willpower Radio for the first time, thank you for tuning in, and you're in the right place if you are a sports entertainment fan or a wrestling fan, because as I mentioned, we are getting right into WWE this past weekend, NXT TakeOver, WrestleMania 34, the whole bit. So without any further ado, let's get right into NXT TakeOver New Orleans. Now, the show opened with a live performance from Kane Hill, you know, that band that did one or two, however many theme songs this pay-per-view had. They did a live performance, and I just thought this was interesting as a side note that you had a metal band playing their music and doing their thing. You don't really see that too much at all ever on the WWE main roster these days, so it's interesting to see Triple H's influence here on NXT, since he is the one that runs NXT, and how he would do things, and maybe how we might see music presentations like this more often once he and Stephanie McMahon fully take over creative control from Vince McMahon in the coming years. So besides that side note, let's get right into it. The opening match, the six-man ladder match to decide the first ever NXT North American champion. And that match was between Adam Cole, EC3, Ricochet, Lars Sullivan, The Velveteen Dream, and Killian Dane. And this match was utterly incredible. So many amazing, thought-provoking moments. You had moments like Ricochet being flipped off a ladder into an offensive move when he turned that into a double moonsault to opponents on the outside of the ring. You had multiple opponents being put through ladders. There was one point in the match where two ladders were bridged from the ring apron to the announce table. And during that time, you had, I believe, Lars Sullivan. Two men were on each ladder, laying flat on the ladder. One of them was, I don't remember who, and the other one, Lars Sullivan, put one superstar through that ladder with his finishing move, so taking out two superstars at once. Then only moments later, the other monster, big man of that match, Killian Dane, did the exact same thing to, I do remember, Ricochet and Adam Cole. So lots of innovative moves here. This match went on for a long time, over 30 minutes of nonstop carnage and storytelling here. And what made this match so damn good was that every competitor in this match had a realistic opportunity to win it all. There wasn't any weak link in this match. There wasn't anyone who you could look at and count out immediately. From Lars Sullivan to Ricochet to Velveteen Dream to Adam Cole to everyone in the match, there was a lot of credibility between them all. And that's what made the ending even better. It was unpredictable. It was fun. It was a thrill ride the whole way through. So when Ricochet knocked Lars Sullivan, who looked like he was going to be winning the entire match, much to the chagrin of the NXT faithful, they did not want to see that at all. Whenever he would begin to scale that ladder, they would immediately shower him in boos. They did not want to see that. But Ricochet, like Spider-Man, popping out of nowhere, leaping off the ropes, landing on Lars Sullivan on the ladder, taking both of them out. Ricochet now scaling the ladder himself. The audience is going absolutely crazy for him when Adam Cole comes out of nowhere, takes down Ricochet off that ladder, and climbs that ladder himself and pulls down the first ever NXT North American Championship. So, yep, Adam Cole is your inaugural NXT North American champion in a really, really fun match. Go out of your way to see this match. Hell, go out of your way to see this entire NXT TakeOver New Orleans event. It's only 3 hours long, which you're probably saying to yourself, that's like Lord of the Rings. That's not short, but compared to the WrestleMania 34 main card, 7.5 hours long, this is a cup of coffee. So really good stuff here. And it makes me wonder, who's Adam Cole's first challenger for that title going to be? Is this going to be more of a UK championship, NXT UK championship, where it's only on the show sporadically every now and then? It's not a main fixture of the show. Or is this going to be more of a solid mid-card title for NXT? And as of right now, I'm thinking it will be NXT's Intercontinental Championship. It will be NXT's United States Championship to the NXT World title. So congrats to Adam Cole. Really awesome match here. Had a lot of fun watching it. And he's your first ever NXT North American champion. And if you're just tuning in now, you're listening to Willpower Radio here on KKSM, the Radio Revolution, getting all into this past week's episode, or not episode, events of WWE and pro wrestling, NXT Takeover New Orleans and WrestleMania 34, covering wrestling from turnbuckle to turnbuckle. The next match was Shayna Baszler against Ember Moon for the NXT Women's Championship. And these two ladies have wrestled each other quite a bit. They've had some really good matches. And I've been predicting Shayna Baszler to win the NXT Championship for a while now. When they faced each other back in January at NXT TakeOver Philadelphia, I thought she was going to win there. Shayna Baszler's a female equivalent of Brock Lesnar. She's got that real-life MMA background. And when you see her wrestle, you think, wow, she could kick my ass. She's believable. And it all came to fruition tonight when she made Ember Moon tap out. Or, excuse me, she didn't even give Ember Moon the opportunity to tap out because she locked Ember Moon into her rear naked choke. Ember Moon, she vowed she would not give up that title. It was not going to happen. This was something she's fought so hard to get and now fought so hard to keep. She would not give it up. She would not tap out. And to her credit, she didn't tap out. She was put to sleep. She didn't give up the NXT title. It was taken from her. And what I thought was a fun match here. And credit to these performers because it can't be easy to follow the ladder match that came before this. That easily, in my opinion, was the match of the night on a card with nothing but great matches. So for these two ladies to have to follow that, keep the crowd in, and keep me interested in it. I was burnt out after that ladder match. Good stuff. And Shayna Baszler finally getting the NXT Women's Championship. One cool moment from this match. Shayna Baszler, she's usually doing this spot where she'll hold the other lady's arm down behind them and she'll literally kick their arm down where it's not supposed to go, and it simulates snapping their shoulder out of place, possibly breaking their arm. That's what it's supposed to simulate. And Ember Moon, she turned the tables on Shayna Baszler here. She gave her a taste of her own medicine in quite a poetic moment, honestly, when she was the one to do that to Shayna Baszler. She snapped Shayna Baszler's shoulder out of her socket, and Shayna Baszler, she was limping. She was out of it for a little bit, and then she did something I had never seen before in a wrestling match in my entire life. She went to the ring post on the outside of the ring, and she rammed her own shoulder into the ring post multiple times to snap it back into place. The grittiness, the physicalness of this match, the physicality I've never seen before in a women's match ever. So interesting stuff there, good stuff there. And as I mentioned earlier, Shayna Baszler, she eventually countered Ember Moon's finishing move off the top rope into that rear naked choke and made Ember Moon go to sleep to win the NXT Women's Championship. And it was appropriate after the match. She went to ringside. Ronda Rousey was in the crowd, who is Shayna Baszler's real-life friend, and also some other UFC lady. Her name escapes me right now. I think it was Jessamine Duke. And Shayna Baszler hugged them both in a congratulatory episode, a congratulatory statement, or whatever you'll call it. And Shayna Baszler walking away as the new NXT Women's Champion. Next up was the Undisputed Era versus Pete Dunne and Roderick Strong versus AOP, the Authors of Pain, for the NXT Tag Team Championship, as well as the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic trophy, the Tag Team Classic Tournament trophy. And this match was the weakest of the night, but as I mentioned earlier, that's not saying much when every single match on the show was good to great. It wasn't a bad match by any means. It just didn't have the oomph that some of the other matches did, but it did have a moment. While the match itself didn't have the oomph, it had a moment in there that will have everyone talking for weeks and months to come, and I'll get to that in just a moment. Let's go over a little bit more of the match before I do. So Adam Cole, due to Bobby Fish of the Undisputed Era being injured, Adam Cole went with his stablemate, Kyle O'Reilly, and he substituted for Bobby Fish to defend the NXT Tag Team Championships with Kyle O'Reilly. But since Adam Cole was already through that grueling ladder match earlier up in the night, and he won the NXT North American Championship, he was taken out of this match real quick. The Authors of Pain with a double choke slam to Adam Cole to the outside of the ring at the beginning of the match through an announce table, and Adam Cole didn't make a peep for the rest of the match. He was out cold, basically leaving Kyle O'Reilly in a handicap match, or we thought, because during this match, Kyle O'Reilly looks to be almost basically finished. He's done. He's going one-on-one with Pete Dunne. Roderick Strong is preoccupied on the outside of the ring with the Authors of Pain. The Authors of Pain both get taken out of the equation, and Pete Dunne gets the best of Kyle O'Reilly, hits him with his bitter end pump handle slam to STO finishing move. And right when he rolls over, he's about to get the pinfall. He's about to claim the NXT Tag Team Championship and the Dusty Rhodes Classic Trophy, tournament trophy. I don't know why I can't say that today. He's about to claim that for his team, for him and Roddy Strong. Roderick Strong, out of nowhere, stomps on Pete Dunne and lifts him up for his end of heartache finisher. He turns his back. He betrays Pete Dunne out of nowhere. No one saw this coming. I sure as hell didn't. And that lays Pete Dunne out. Roderick Strong pulls Kyle O'Reilly's limp carcass over Pete Dunne, and there it is. 1, 2, 3. The Undisputed Era successfully defending their NXT Tag Team Championship and the winner of the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic this year. And not only did they get the championship, did they get to keep it? Not only did they win the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic, but now they also have a new member of the Undisputed Era being Roderick Strong, which is interesting to see since Bobby Fish is injured right now, probably going to be out for 8 months. He has a torn ACL. Roderick Strong is going to fill his role, and I'm interested to see how Roderick Strong performs as a villainous character now. He went from being a babyface to a heel, and let's see how he can perform during that time. But above all, as I mentioned, this was a pretty shocking moment in the night, and what was otherwise a rather uneventful match really lifted it up to being memorable. And oddly enough, the crowd, I don't know how odd this is actually, the crowd loved it. They loved it when he turned his back on Pete Dunne, who's beloved by the fans as well. But a lot of the NXT wrestlers, even though their heels are supposed to be villains, they're not booed by the audience. Adam Cole is a perfect example. He's supposed to be one of the top bad guys on NXT, on the brand of NXT. And when he won the NXT North American Championship, the crowd cheered. They cheered their heads off. And if you're just tuning in right now, you're listening to KKSM, the Radio Revolution, more specifically, Will on Willpower Radio here on KKSM. But as I mentioned, the crowd cheered their heads off for Adam Cole when he won his earlier match, and they also cheered here when Roderick Strong, he turned his back on one of the most liked and beloved characters on NXT, Pete Dunne, the Bruiserweight, and the crowd still cheered. So the NXT crowd is a weird one, or maybe it's just NXT's booking with the way these guys are presented. It's hard to dislike some of these bad guys, which leads to guys like the Velveteen Dream and Pete Dunne, who were originally villains, being de facto heroes or baby faces because the crowd dislikes them so damn much. And I was thinking to myself, this is a problem we see all throughout NXT. Is there a single bad guy who's booed unanimously by the audience? Is there a single guy who gets that heat that he's supposed to be getting? And then I immediately thought of him, Tommaso Ciampa. And we'll get more into that later when we talk about the main event tonight. After that match, we had Aleister Black versus Andrade Cien Almas for the NXT Championship. And sure enough, Aleister Black undefeated in singles competition, and that streak continued tonight after he defeated Andrade Cien Almas with the Black Mass spinning heel kick. God, I love that finisher. Comes out of nowhere, makes a good smack, and before you know it, the match is over. Nobody kicks out of that move. And while this match, it wasn't as fast-paced as Andrade Cien Almas versus Johnny Gargano from NXT TakeOver Philadelphia. Well, it wasn't that good of a match because hardly any match is going to be as good as that match, which was an all-time great. It was a lot of fun with a lot of interference from Selena Vega and some really hard strikes from both men. I remember there are some points here where Aleister Black nailing some vicious knee lifts and knee strikes on Andrade Cien Almas because, you know, that's what the Dutch Destroyer does. He's going to destroy you with his strikes. And Andrade Cien Almas not backing down one bit himself, nailing Aleister Black similarly with other vicious striking moves, but Zelina Vega's interference in this match was off the chart. You thought she interfered a lot in the Johnny Gargano matches. We clearly hadn't seen anything yet, because she not only attacked Aleister Black once with one Hurricane Rana to the outside of the ring into the steel steps, but twice. As I mentioned, at one point when Aleister Black was on the outside of the ring, Zelina Vega, while the referee was distracted, did a Hurricane Rana off the apron, launching Aleister Black into the steel steps, the steel stairs. And in the middle of the match, or towards the end of the match, while the ref was distracted once again, Zelina Vega doing another Hurricane Rana to Aleister Black, this time planting his head into the mat. And if you're just tuning in now, you're listening to Willpower Radio here on KKSM, getting into this past week's weekend, this epic weekend of wrestling in WWE right now, talking about NXT TakeOver New Orleans. But as I mentioned, Zelina Vega, she went to the well one too many times. While there was a lot of interference here, she did everything she could to make sure her business partner, Andrade Cien Almas, could walk out as the NXT champion that he's been for over 6 months now. It wasn't meant to be, because she went to assault Aleister Black one more time, but Aleister Black pushing the referee into the corner, leading Andrade Cien Almas and getting out of the way by pushing the referee out of the corner, leading Zelina Vega to land on Andrade Cien Almas. Andrade Cien Almas catching her in a power slam position. So he's got both of his hands holding her, giving him no way to defend his face from the Black Mass, a spinning heel kick that Aleister Black nailed him with. Aleister Black picking up the victory after that in a badass match. I enjoyed it quite a bit. On any other card, this match would have main evented, but with the blood feud that's been going on with Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa, it wasn't going to main event. But after this match, it got me thinking. I'm excited to see Aleister Black's title reign. This guy has a presence to him that I haven't seen in a long time. Almost like the Undertaker, combination of the Undertaker and Steve Blackman, I guess. Not in terms of personality, but in terms of his striking ability and just this dark, brooding character that he has going on. But who will Aleister Black feud with for the NXT Championship besides Andrade Cien Almas? Because we know he's not going to lose that title right back to Almas. This guy's going to get a little run here with the championship before being on the main roster. So who's he going to face? A returning Drew McIntyre? Ricochet? EC3? Adam Cole? Who knows? Tell me what you know and what you think, though. It's 760-736-8375. That's 760-736-8375 here on KKSM. Call me to let me know who you think Aleister Black will face during his NXT Championship reign. And then came the main event. Johnny Gargano against Tommaso Ciampa in a barn burner. This match went nearly 40 minutes in a one-on-one contest, and it was slow at some points, but as I mentioned, the match is 40 minutes. The whole thing isn't going to be go, go, go. There's going to be some lag points, and there was, but they surely made up for it because this match had a lot of near falls, and the two best things about this match, as I alluded to earlier, one of them being the crowd involvement. This crowd, the way they reacted to Tommaso Ciampa, and the way they reacted to Johnny Gargano was perfect. Tommaso Ciampa booed unanimously, doing exactly what a villain is supposed to be doing. I couldn't help but boo him from home. I didn't want him to beat Johnny Gargano. I thought he would, because Gargano, while we love him, he's like the Chicago Cubs. He's an underdog character, but he can never seem to win the big one. Gargano, he's snake bit in that way. You want him to win. He gets so close each time, but he never quite gets there. So it was believable to think Ciampa would do that to Gargano. Gargano, this would be another challenge where he gets super close to it. He almost gets there, but he just doesn't quite get it done. And did that happen in this match? Keep listening and find out, because while these two did have a back and forth match that went nearly 40 minutes, Gargano surviving multiple Project Ciampas, which is Tommaso Ciampa's finisher, including one from the second rope, which is basically a power bomb lifted into a double knee sit out. So vicious stuff, almost like the combination of a power bomb to a double knee backbreaker, and also some storytelling here from Ciampa. He was nailing several knees to the back of the head, a la their finishing move from their days as a tag team in DIY, when they would do the super kick to the back of the knee combo on one guy. Sick finisher. And he nailed some of those on Gargano. But no matter what, Gargano would not quit. And Ciampa, for give this man his credit, he wouldn't quit either. He survived several hard-hitting spots, getting beat up with a crutch, not tapping out to the Gargano escape when it was locked in for a very long time, eating multiple super kicks to the face, and even landing on bare cement. These men took the padding out from the outside of the ring, exposing the bare concrete, and they both landed on it at one point with a vicious suplex to the outside of the ring. I believe it was a suplex. Not quite sure what that move was, actually, but they ate it. They totally ate it and landed. And that's both these men showing a lot of intestinal fortitude, as good old Jim Ross would say. And if you're showing some good intestinal fortitude right now and listening right now to KKSM, then you're hearing Willpower Radio. And I'm getting into this past weekend's episodes or happenings of WWE and professional wrestling, currently getting into NXT TakeOver New Orleans. So as I mentioned, both of these men, they put their bodies through hell. They left it all on the line here. And towards the end of the match, it looked like Gargano, he didn't have it in him. He didn't have it in him to beat Ciampa. And as I mentioned earlier, two great things about this match being the crowd involvement, and another thing being Gargano's vulnerability. It was very easy to think this man will lose this match and he wouldn't get his NXT job back, which is a stipulation. If Gargano were to win, he gets his NXT job back. If he loses, he's gone from NXT forever. So in my predictions, I figured this guy's going to lose. He's going to find his way to 205 Live, and that'll be that. Not everyone can get a run with the NXT Championship before being called up to the main roster. That's what I thought would happen, and it looked like it would, because towards the end of the match, Gargano has the crutch, the symbolic crutch that Ciampa had used so many times before to batter Gargano over the head with. And Tommaso Ciampa sitting in the middle of the ring. He's looking up at Gargano, hoping for mercy from Gargano. And Gargano about to lay it in him with that crutch. But then Gargano, being the guy that he is, it looked like he didn't have it in him. It looked like he was going to show the Sicilian psychopath, Tommaso Ciampa, some mercy. And he sat down next to him for a second. And it brought you back to their time as a tag team when they went through wars together, winning tag team titles together, going through it all together. And right when it seemed like Johnny Gargano let his guard down, right when it seemed like he had let his guard down too much to the point of where it was going to bite him in the ass, Tommaso Ciampa looks to strike him. Gargano ducks under and then immediately locks Ciampa back into the Gargano escape. And at this point, Ciampa has nowhere to go. But then Gargano, thinking quick on his feet, he grabs the knee brace that had kept Tommaso Ciampa out for months. Tommaso Ciampa had a knee injury and took off his knee brace at one point throughout the match. Gargano switching from the Gargano escape to an STF, grabbing Ciampa's leg, and then getting the knee brace and bracing it over Tommaso Ciampa's face, holding it over his face. And at that point, the pain was too immense. Tommaso Ciampa, no choice but to tap out in a brutal match, a great match, a beautiful match, honestly. Amazing storytelling here. And Gargano showing a little bit of edge at the end, showing that while he may be a stand-up guy and he likes to do the right thing, when push comes to shove, he's not afraid to do what he has to do to get the job done. And I'm excited to see where Gargano goes from here. Surely he can't be the first contender for Aleister Black's NXT Championship, because we know Aleister Black is going to beat whoever he faces first. So will Gargano get a shot at the NXT Championship anytime soon? Will it be someone else? Do these guys continue feuding? Do Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano continue feuding throughout the rest of the year? Or is this the end to their story? By the end of the match, I'm thinking it very well maybe. And now to get into WrestleMania 34. WrestleMania 34, it was a spectacle. It was a 7.5 hour long show, the longest maybe ever in WWE history, but still one of the most eventful and best WrestleManias ever, in my opinion. And you may ask yourself, why? Well, let's get right into it. So, at the very beginning of the show, on the pre-show, it was established John Cena, when he said he was coming to WrestleMania as a fan, I guess he meant it, because he's sitting in the audience with some fans, and he had like 10 feet of open space around him besides the fans that were sitting right next to him. So he wasn't smack dab in the middle of it, but he was next to some fans and just sitting in the audience, drinking beer, just doing his thing while watching the show for the first couple matches. So that was fun. It was kind of old school. I haven't seen WWE do anything kind of campy and fun like that in a while. So some people thought it was kind of stupid. I saw on Twitter, some people weren't the biggest fans of it, but it's wrestling, guys. Just have fun with it. Like Tommy Wiseau would say, just have fun with it, for God's sakes. And this was fun. And the opening match was also fun. It was the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, and you had the likes of Dolph Ziggler, Baron Corbin, Kane, Matt Hardy in this match. But you know who you didn't have? Were any surprise entrants. You didn't have any Samoa Joes, who unfortunately this year missed his second year of WrestleMania in a row. The poor guy still has not been on a WrestleMania show yet. And you didn't have a repackaged Bray Wyatt. I was thinking there's been rumors of Bray Wyatt. He was defeated by Matt Hardy in the Ultimate Deletion match, that after that defeat, he would come back to WWE as a new character. He maybe wouldn't be Bray Wyatt anymore. He'd be a completely different person, but we didn't see that either in this match. No Bray Wyatt, at least until the end, because Matt Hardy, he ended up winning this Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal with an assist from Bray Wyatt, because it's down to Matt Hardy and Baron Corbin as the final two in the match. And then all of a sudden the lights go out. Bray Wyatt appears out of nowhere, and he doesn't screw over Matt Hardy. Quite the opposite. He helps Matt Hardy, and Matt Hardy eliminates Baron Corbin, and afterwards, Bray Wyatt and Matt Hardy unite to form what I'm thinking is going to be some kind of weird, goofy tag team. Not goofy, but just weird, off-kilter, eccentric tag team. And I'm excited for it, because their feud, it wasn't the greatest, but I think them as a tag team has a lot of legs to it, and it can be fun, and maybe even be able, or be a way to press the restart button on Bray Wyatt and get him back off to the right track. But I can't lie, I am a little disappointed that Bray Wyatt didn't come out looking any different at all. He seems to be the same old Bray Wyatt. So hopefully the way he is positioned and treated on the WWE roster isn't the same old, and we can get some rejuvenation to that Bray Wyatt character. Then we had the Cedric Alexander versus Mustafa Ali match to crown the new Cruiserweight champion for the vacant Cruiserweight championship. And going into this pay-per-view WrestleMania, I was thinking this match could be a potential show stealer. This could be a barn burner, even though it was placed on the pre-show. These two, it's WrestleMania. These two are relatively unknown, and this is their chance to show everyone what 205 Live is about, show everyone what the Cruiserweights are about. And if you're just tuning in now, you're listening to Will here on Willpower Radio on KKSM, the Radio Revolution, getting into this past or even yesterday's WrestleMania 34 event. So as I mentioned, I had really high expectations for this match, and maybe it's because my expectations were so high, but to me, this match didn't really deliver. It was very standard. It's almost like something you would see on 205 Live. There wasn't a whole lot of crazy spots or near falls or anything like that. In fact, a lot of this match was very slow and plodding, a lot of rest holds, and I wasn't sure what the deal was, because this is 205 Live. These are the guys under 205 pounds, the cruiserweights, the speedsters, the hard strikers, the fast competitors, and yet they're slowing down, doing sleeper holds and weird abdominal stretch submission moves that just fill up time. I didn't get it at all, and the match, it wasn't bad. Don't get me wrong, it wasn't bad, but I feel like it could have been so much more. One thing I should mention, though, is Mustafa Ali. His entrance was really cool. He came out with a blue electronic mask, almost like something you'd see from the movie Tron, and he had a blue glove on as well. He looked like a combination of Sub-Zero and Glacier from WCW, but he looked really, really damn cool, and when I saw that, I already wanted him to win, and then I really wanted him to win. Unfortunately, that wasn't the case. Cedric Alexander picking up the win here after nailing several back elbow strikes, about 3 in a row. And then after that, Mustafa Ali eating Cedric Alexander's finishing move, the lumbar check, the suplex lifted into a double knee backbreaker. And just like that, Mustafa Ali lost. Only took one lumbar check to put him out. Mustafa Ali did land his 054 reverse 450 on Cedric Alexander earlier in the match, but Cedric Alexander got his foot on the rope. And yeah, not a lot of false finishes. They didn't trade finishers in this match like how I thought they would. It's a very standard match indeed, but it got the job done. One thing I didn't really get though was at the end, as soon as Cedric defeated Mustafa Ali, when he was striking him with those elbow strikes before hitting his finisher, he was telling Mustafa Ali to stay down, like Mustafa Ali was outmatched or something, or like it was this crazy epic long match. And the match went 10 minutes and it was pretty evenly back and forth the whole way through. And then when Cedric Alexander pinned Ali, he went, as soon as he pinned him, as soon as it was a 1-2-3, he went over and hugged Mustafa Ali on the mat, kind of like how Shawn Michaels did to Ric Flair at WrestleMania 24. Like, I understand they were trying to show the mutual respect between these two men, how they respect each other, despite whoever wins or loses, they still respect each other. But considering that the match wasn't anything special and that I really didn't feel like these two took themselves to the limit anyways, that whole part of it just seemed out of place and a little over the top to me. And then we had Naomi, surprisingly, winning the WrestleMania Women's Battle Royal. That match was up next, the last match of the pre-show. And this was the definition of filler. This Women's Battle Royal wasn't anything really much to talk about here. I was picking Ember Moon to make her main roster debut and win. She wasn't even involved in the match, but there were a couple of NXT superstars that were involved, such as Bianca Belair, Dakota Kai, and a few other women that we saw in the Cruiserweight Classic, the Mae Young Classic from this past summer. And so, as I mentioned, no Ember Moon in this match, but we did have Bayley, Sasha, Naomi. It came down at the end to Bayley and Sasha. It seemed like they were the only two left, and Bayley showing a little bit of grit, a little bit of edge. She actually eliminated Sasha when Sasha didn't expect it, giving her a taste of her own medicine. But we thought that was it. We thought Bayley had won at that point. Naomi comes back in the ring, and she had been out of the ring for most of the match. But she comes back in the ring, surprises Bayley, and basically eliminates Bayley immediately. So Naomi, spending most of the ring outside of the match, never eliminated though, makes that surprise comeback, and she wins the match, eliminating Bayley. And the Sasha and Bayley storyline, it's far from over. These women are going to have a match at Backlash or maybe even tonight on Raw. I'm sure of it. But as of right now, there's still total stalemates in this match. So, as I mentioned, Naomi, she won the whole thing, last eliminating Bayley, and Sasha being eliminated prior. One thing that was interesting is a lot of people were picking Becky Lynch to win this match, and Becky Lynch got eliminated in the middle of the match. She wasn't even close. She wasn't even involved in the ending portion of the match, which is weird. I feel bad for Becky Lynch. It's like she's the redheaded stepchild. Literally, she's redheaded, and she's just the stepchild that doesn't get the attention or appreciation that she probably deserves. She's not positioned the same way as Charlotte is, as we saw later on in the night, and she doesn't have a feud going on that's given television time every week, something that she can sink her teeth into, like how Sasha and Bayley are currently right now. So that was the pre-show in a nutshell before we get into the main card. And it was a decent pre-show, 2 hours long. Gave you a good opportunity to get some chips, get your friends ready, order your food, and get ready for the main card. I only hope to God that they include the Cedric Alexander-Mustafa Ali match on the WrestleMania DVD, that they include the whole pre-show on the WrestleMania DVD, because last year they didn't, and that really pissed off Adrian Neville and Austin Aries, who were part of that Cruiserweight match, and now neither of them are in the company because they weren't on the DVD. They didn't get those WrestleMania DVD sales royalties, and now they're both gone. So it's okay that the Cruiserweights were on the pre-show. I was hoping they wouldn't be, but just put the guys on the DVD, WWE. please. So Braun Strowman, he didn't quite get the WrestleMania moment that maybe we were all hoping for or that we thought he would get by not being in world title contention, but he made his own mark at WrestleMania because when he came out to challenge the Bar, Cesaro and Sheamus, for the Raw Tag Team Championship, we had expected him to pick a mystery partner. We didn't know who his partner would be. Samoa Joe, Jeff Hardy, James Ellsworth, Alexa Bliss, we didn't know, but he surprised us all when he said he wanted his partner to be you. And when he said he wanted to be you, he pointed to the audience. He wanted a member of the audience to be part of his tag team for the night. And as Jake mentioned, yes, I'm sure this moment was scripted. I guess that's something as a wrestling fan you come to accept, that a lot of this stuff is scripted, and I hope no younger wrestling fans are listening right now and Santa Claus isn't real or anything like that, because it is a rough thing to digest when you're a new wrestling fan. But I'm sure the young child, Nicholas, who won the Raw Tag Team Championship with Braun Strowman, he was maybe a producer's son or a wrestler's son or just something like that, some affiliation with WWE in that way. But in my opinion, it still made for a cool moment. I know I was talking to DJ Good Savage earlier, Braxton, on KKSM, and he's also a big wrestling fan. He sure is. And he said he did not like that one bit. And there was a contingent of wrestling fans, of hardcore wrestling fans like myself, who didn't like it one bit. They said, this is ridiculous. How can you put a 10-year-old kid, of all people, in this spot, in this match? It makes Cesaro and Sheamus look so bad, when we could have gotten someone like Samoa Joe or Jeff Hardy, who I mentioned earlier, a returning star who could have made a big impact. But instead, we get this 10-year-old kid who Jake did mention, very small and feeble, weak-looking, kind of like Willpower Radio himself, very scrawny. But we're not going to get into that right now. So, but yeah, so that was what happened. Braun Strowman tag team up with Nicholas. This 10-year-old kid, he didn't even really do anything in the match. He just was on the apron the whole time. And yeah, he didn't have any involvement. Braun Strowman basically won the match by himself, beat Cesaro, pinched Cesaro with his power slam finishing move in about 4 minutes, and that was it. So rather than seeing Nicholas, this 10-year-old boy, travel with Strowman and be with him every part or every week on Raw, I don't think we're going to see that. I think we're going to see Strowman just call out a member of the audience every week on Raw and say, you defend the tag team titles with me this week. And that's it. Every week we're going to get a new partner for Strowman on Raw, a new member of the audience to help Strowman defend the Raw Tag Team Championship on Raw. So in a sense, Strowman is a champion by himself, which is kind of cool considering no one's really done that before. And if there's anyone who can do it, if there's anyone who's believable to be a champion by themselves, it's Braun Strowman. The man is a monster among men. Maybe he's being a comedic monster among men, but he is a badass nonetheless, and it's believable with him. But I enjoyed seeing Nicholas get his WrestleMania moment. Here's Nicholas main eventing WrestleMania 35 next year. And if you're just listening now, you're tuning into Willpower Radio on KKSM, the Radio Revolution, getting into yesterday's epic WrestleMania 34. So since I jumped ahead of there a little bit, let's go back to the beginning. What opened the main show, besides the pre-show at WrestleMania 34, it was the Intercontinental Championship triple threat match with Seth Rollins taking on Finn Balor and the Intercontinental Champion, The Miz. Seth Rollins, all these guys had cool entrances. Rollins coming out as White Walker from Game of Thrones. Seth Rollins, he had the ice blue eye contacts in and the white, grayish white attire. And it looked really cool. Even on the Titantron, they had a White Walker there. So Seth Rollins, first he was a Kingslayer, which already kind of alluded to Game of Thrones. And now he is a White Walker. And now you can also call him your Intercontinental Champion, because Seth Rollins, after a really hot opener, one of the best in-ring matches on the entire show with all three men showing their stuff. Each man had an opportunity to win the match at various points, but Seth Rollins, after delivering one curb stomp to The Miz while The Miz was covering Finn Balor, then delivered another curb stomp to Finn Balor with the whole audience behind Seth while he was doing it. Seth was tuning up his foot, kind of like how Shawn Michaels would, with the sweet chin music, tuning up the band before nailing that curb stomp. The crowd loved it. I ate it up. It was great. Love Seth Rollins. He's on fire right now, no pun intended, with burning it down. And Seth Rollins winning the Intercontinental Championship just like that. A lot of people were predicting Balor. I was predicting Miz to successfully retain. So Seth Rollins was a surprising outcome to this match, but he did it. And another interesting note to this match, no Demon Balor tonight. Finn Balor did not come out as the Demon. We haven't seen the Demon since, I can't even remember, maybe this past September against AJ Styles, something along those lines. The Demon always comes out for big matches. So why wouldn't he come out for WrestleMania? It didn't make sense. This is the biggest match of his career in a lot of ways. But seeing that Seth Rollins did defeat The Miz and even got the pin on Finn Balor, it wouldn't have made sense for Balor to come out as a Demon. You don't want to see Balor come out as a Demon and lose. When he comes out as a Demon, you want to see him win. You want to see that Demon character remain strong and supernatural, to the point almost like with The Undertaker, where when you see that Demon come out, you know it's going down. So I'm okay with the Demon not coming out, considering that Finn Balor did not win this match. And interestingly enough, we got the opposite of Demon Balor. He came out with the LGBT group in New Orleans for some reason. So cool cause. I like seeing the LGBT being supported by WWE and getting their moment, but you couldn't have gotten any farther from a dark, brooding character like the Demon to LBGT Balor coming out with rainbows. So that was one of the first surprises of the night, on a night with many, many surprises. And then second overall match on the main card of WrestleMania, Charlotte taking on Asuka to defend her SmackDown Women's Championship. And I was picking Asuka to win this match. I was thinking, why would you end the streak right now? Why would you end it to Charlotte, someone who doesn't need to win this match and take out Asuka's streak? But sure enough, after a back and forth match, these ladies went at it for about 13 minutes. Good match. But Charlotte locking in the figure eight, successfully getting it locked in. She tried many times throughout the match to get locked in. She couldn't, but she eventually did. And Asuka, I crap you not, Asuka tapping out to Charlotte. Asuka's 914-day undefeated streak over just like that. Kaboom, gone. And Charlotte, she did it. So I don't know what it is. There's something about New Orleans. We saw it 4 years ago at WrestleMania 30, that Mercedes-Benz Superdome in New Orleans. They don't like streaks. WrestleMania 30 with Brock Lesnar losing to The Undertaker. Undertaker's 20-year-plus undefeated streak of WrestleMania, poof, gone. And now the same thing with Asuka losing to Charlotte and her streak being over. So, as I mentioned earlier, it was kind of baffling to some people that Charlotte, why would she be the one to defeat Asuka? But I can see it on the other side of the coin, because while you could say Asuka should lose to a more or a less established star, someone who could deserve that rub, that moment of saying, I was the one to defeat Asuka, could really make and launch a new star, right? But at the same time, this streak wasn't wasted. Asuka, she lost to Charlotte, who's really the face of the women's division in WWE. And it was at WrestleMania 34. It's at the biggest stage of them all. So by no means did she lose on a random episode of Monday Night Raw to Dana Brooke or something like that. She lost to the biggest star in the women's division on the grandest stage of them all. So I really don't have a problem with Asuka losing, despite it being to someone who really didn't need to be the one to end the streak. But the streak had to end eventually, and it was a lot like Brock Lesnar defeating The Undertaker at WrestleMania 30 to a lesser degree. Brock Lesnar being an established star, ending the streak, and that being that. And there really wasn't much else to it. Charlotte, she's already made, but she ended Asuka's streak, and now where does Asuka go from here? One thing I was surprised about, Asuka really didn't put up as much of a fight as I thought she would in this match. She didn't nail any of her signature moves or strikes. She never got the Asuka locked in. She lost after, it was a good match, but wasn't quite as back and forth in terms of finishing moves and dramatic moments as I thought it would be. The finish kind of came out of nowhere, made it surprising. And if you're just tuning in now, you're listening to Will here on Will Power Radio on KKSM, the Radio Revolution. Getting into this past week's episode or event. It's not an episode. It's WrestleMania, damn it. WrestleMania 34. Getting into yesterday's WrestleMania 34 event. So after Charlotte Flair defeated Asuka to defend the SmackDown Women's Championship and end that 914-day undefeated streak, we had another SmackDown Championship match, the Fatal 4-Way United States Championship match with Randy Orton taking on Bobby Roode, Rusev, and Jinder Mahal. And I picked Rusev to win this match. Rusev Day was over like Rover. The crowd wanted it. I wanted it. I wanted to see Rusev pick up the win here. He had a couple moments where it looked like he was going to get the win, where he was going to pick up the pinfall after a Machka kick here and there, but it wasn't meant to be. Jinder Mahal, after Rusev was actually distracted by a Singh brother, Jinder Mahal hit Rusev with the Colossus finishing move, that Cobra Clutch Slam, and Jinder Mahal, of all people, ending Randy Orton's 20-day United States Championship reign. Very short reign. Randy Orton always has short reigns with the title, though. He's kind of boring as a champion. He's always more fun chasing the title. So no surprise that Randy Orton lost. I thought Rusev would be winning this match. Kind of bummed that Jinder Mahal won. Jinder Mahal is got to be my least favorite wrestler, maybe ever, to have ever lived. I'm not a Jinder Mahal fan at all, and I shriek at the thought of Jinder Mahal feuding with Randy Orton again over a title. We went through this last year around the same time of the year, WWE, with Jinder Mahal facing Randy Orton for the WWE Championship, and that was the cure for insomnia. So, or cure for insomnia, easy for me to say. I think I'm already falling asleep just talking about it, but hopefully Jinder Mahal, he's improved since then. Hopefully this reign is better than his WWE Championship reign. And if we really are keeping our fingers crossed, hopefully Rusev beats him for the title at this episode's or this week's episode of SmackDown, so we can just get the title on Rusev. It sucked seeing Rusev get pinned here by Mahal of all people, and Rusev not getting his WrestleMania moment. I really think this should have been Rusev's WrestleMania moment. And then after that match, we had the match of the night. Surprisingly, the match of the night. Heading into this pay-per-view, when I was looking at this match, this Kurt Angle, Ronda Rousey match taking on Stephanie McMahon and Triple H, I had no idea how this match was going to come off. I knew the spectacle would be there. It's Ronda Rousey's first ever WWE match. I knew it would feel big, but I wasn't sure how good the match would be. I wasn't sure what the quality of the match would be like, but boy, oh boy, I was pleasantly surprised at the way this match turned out. If you told me beforehand that a match with, or a WrestleMania card with Daniel Bryan making his in-ring return after 3 years, with Shinsuke Nakamura taking on AJ Styles and Charlotte taking on Asuka for the Women's Championship, if you told me that a match involving Ronda Rousey would outdo every single one of those in terms of quality, I'd say you're crazy, but that's exactly what happened on this show, with Ronda Rousey making her in-ring WWE debut and winning the hearts of every wrestling fan out there. She absolutely kicked ass, and it was great. Ronda Rousey and Triple H, or Ronda Rousey and Kurt Angle, they defeated Stephanie McMahon and Triple H, completely knocked it out of the park. Match of the night, no doubt about it. Really good storytelling in this match. And Ronda Rousey surprisingly doing good in the ring for her first match ever. On the grandest stage of them all, she had her first ever match, and she completely killed it. There were some really fun moments in this match. Stephanie McMahon was trying to evade Ronda Rousey for the entire match, and you just wanted to see Ronda get her hands on her and make her tap out, which she eventually did at the end. Ronda Rousey, a complete savage, showing no mercy at all. But there were a couple moments in the match that were also noteworthy. Triple H at one point, Triple H, he told the ref, don't worry about this. I don't care if in a mixed match it's supposed to only be the men against the men and the women against the women. I want to take on Ronda Rousey right now. So the ref says, okay, can't argue with the boss here. He's a COO of WWE. Can't argue with that. So Triple H, so sure of himself, ready to take on Ronda, and Ronda lights him up with a flurry of strikes, pushing Triple H into the corner of the ring, and he's about to get almost like suplex in a fireman's carry position, and Stephanie McMahon comes back in the ring. There were a few points in this match where it seemed like Triple H and Stephanie McMahon were going to actually win, and I would have died a little bit inside if that happened. It would have been a lot like Sting losing a WrestleMania 31 to Triple H. This would have come out of nowhere and wouldn't have made a whole lot of sense. But there were a couple moments where Triple H landed that pedigree on Kurt Angle or other moments where Triple H, it was mainly Triple H getting the best of Kurt Angle when you thought it was going to be the end of the match, because Stephanie McMahon, from what I remember, there really wasn't any point where you thought she was going to pin Ronda Rousey. So you're thinking, oh crap, here comes Triple H about to pedigree his way to victory. But thankfully, that did not happen with, as I mentioned, Ronda Rousey. She eventually caught Stephanie McMahon and locked Stephanie McMahon in an armbar, bending her arm all the way back, possibly even breaking it. Who knows? And making Stephanie McMahon tap out to Ronda Rousey. Ronda Rousey and Triple H, such great crowd involvement too. Everyone was standing in that audience for the last 10 minutes of this match. Everyone was on their feet. At home, when I was watching from my computer, I was standing the whole time. I couldn't believe how good the match was, and it had me on the edge of my seat the entire time. So Ronda Rousey, first match ever in WWE and match of the night at WrestleMania 34. The Bludgeon Brothers also had a match. They took on the Usos and the New Day, and the Bludgeon Brothers, they won the SmackDown Live Tag Team Championship in the most uneventful match of the night. It's a bummer to say that, considering the Usos, this was their first time on the WrestleMania main card of any WrestleMania. They had always been on the pre-show otherwise, and I thought this was going to be an opportunity for them to show their stuff, to show the world what they're made of with the New Day and the Bludgeon Brothers, but that didn't really happen like that. The match only went 5 minutes, and the Bludgeon Brothers quickly picking up the victory by nailing Kofi Kingston with a powerbomb off the second rope, I believe, and that was it. The Bludgeon Brothers quickly winning the SmackDown Tag Team Championship. So good for the Bludgeon Brothers. They're a dominant tag team. Can't wait to see what they do next on SmackDown, but a bummer for the Usos and the New Day, who really didn't get to have much of a showcase at all at this year's WrestleMania. And then, as I mentioned earlier, John Cena, he was playing the role of a fan throughout the night. He was sitting in the audience, drinking beer with the fans, just doing his thing. He's John Cena, the fan tonight. Doesn't have a match at WrestleMania. The Undertaker never responded to him. But as I forgot to mention earlier, during the Charlotte and Asuka match, after that match, John Cena, one of the referees comes to John Cena in the audience, and they tell him, you can't really hear what they're saying, but it sparks something out of John Cena, galvanizes him to hop out of that chair that he was in the audience and run to the back. And at this point of the night, after the SmackDown Live Tag Team Championship match, Cena comes out to the ring decked out in ring gear. He's no longer John Cena the fan. He's John Cena the wrestler. And he hits the ring, and he challenges The Undertaker one more time. He's saying, we're here. It's WrestleMania 34. Where the hell are you? And The Undertaker, he doesn't come out. We get Elias instead. Elias having his mark on WrestleMania and sings a song, talks crap to the fans, usual Elias stuff. And John Cena makes quick work of him, hits him with an attitude adjustment, and that's that. Elias is done, and then the lights go out. The gong hits, and the dead man makes his appearance. His long-awaited arrival, the dead man arriving, finally answering John Cena's call. And he didn't come out as the American Badass. I know a couple people were disappointed about that, really thinking we were going to get the American Badass, Kid Rock, being inducted to the Hall of Fame. The way John Cena was talking crap to Undertaker, the person, more so than the character, it seemed like we were going to get a more human side of the Undertaker, but we got the dead man. He came out, trench coat and all. Before he came out, also I should mention, there was a spotlight in the ring, and it showed the Undertaker's jacket and his hat from the previous year's WrestleMania. When he left, his fighting gloves, his jacket, and his hat in the middle of the ring, and lightning struck that. And then the lights went back on, and the hat, trench coat, fighting gloves were gone. And then The Undertaker came out, and he murdered John Cena. It was a match that lasted under 3 minutes, the shortest John Cena match maybe ever, especially at a WrestleMania. And The Undertaker, it was a quick one. They wrestled. John Cena almost hit the attitude adjustment on The Undertaker at one point. He got him down for the 5-knuckle shuffle. He rebounds off the ropes, and The Undertaker sits up, and Cena looks freaked out. He gets so scared, he falls off of his feet. The Undertaker rises to his feet and nails Cena with a choke slam with some major height on it, and then hits a tombstone. And that's it. In under 3 minutes, The Undertaker vanquishes John Cena, and he gets his revenge for Cena talking crap about him for over a month straight. The Undertaker got his revenge. And after this match, it got me thinking, And this was the best thing WWE could have done. The Undertaker, he can't wrestle that long anymore. He can't wrestle long matches anymore. Even when he took a little bit of Cena's offense, he looked slower immediately. He was heaving, and I don't think Undertaker can wrestle long matches anymore at this stage of his career. So having a short and sweet match, almost like a Goldberg match, I think that's fine. I think that's the best thing WWE could have done in this position. But since this match between Undertaker and John Cena was so short, since Cena lost in under 3 minutes, it got me thinking two things. This isn't The Undertaker's last match. He's not retired yet, so who does he face at next year's WrestleMania? Will this man ever retire? And it got me thinking, when is John Cena going to retire? He's never lost like this. He's never been defeated and demolished ever like this before in his career. So will John Cena retire before The Undertaker retires? Is John Cena, with his Hollywood career taking off now, is he destined for a retirement before The Undertaker retires? And then we had the Daniel Bryan and Shane McMahon match taking on Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. If Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens won, they would get their jobs back on SmackDown Lives. But, spoiler alert, they did not win. Daniel Bryan and Shane McMahon defeating Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens in a good match. It felt so good to see Daniel Bryan back in the ring. I was doing the yes chants like crazy, yelling my ass off while watching this match at home. And the audience, live audience there in New Orleans, they also loved it. It's like Daniel Bryan, he never skipped a beat. There was a moment early on in the match. Well, he was taken out early on in the match. He ate a haluva kick on the outside from Sami Zayn and then ate a apron powerbomb, a powerbomb to the apron from Kevin Owens. And it looked like Daniel Bryan was going to be stretchered away. Well, poor Shane McMahon, an injured Shane McMahon, had to fight for himself. But Bryan, he made his inevitable comeback. And it looked like he had never missed a beat. He landed all of his signature moves. I even noticed when he was doing his running drop kicks in the corner, he was holding on to the top rope while he did it, almost to make sure, to break his fall a little bit, to make sure he wasn't landing on his head, since he did have to retire due to concussion issues beforehand. Seems like he was taking little steps like that to protect his head a little bit more beforehand. Bryan was just a loose cannon where he'd do the running drop kicks to the corner and land on his head like it was nothing. So protecting himself a little bit more there. And there was one scary moment, though, in this match when Bryan, he did his drop kick off the top rope where he lands on the back of his head. And after he did that, he had some lag time. He hit the drop kick on Kevin Owens, I think it was, and he grabbed the back of his head after he hit it. And I thought, oh, crap, Daniel Bryan, he injured himself again. He's got another concussion. This isn't good. I was really scared for him. But then, sure enough, he does a kip up. He's back in it. And he eventually nails Sami Zayn with the yes kicks leading into the running high knee and the yes lock to make Sami Zayn tap out. And Daniel Bryan back in WWE with a triumphant in-ring return. And I cannot wait to see what Daniel Bryan does going from here, whether it's on SmackDown or Raw. Daniel Bryan is back in WWE. And where does this leave Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens? Since they lost this match, they're not back on SmackDown. Are they going to appear on Raw, or are they somehow going to be on or be separated on different brands? Since they're both fired from SmackDown Live, would one of them be drafted by SmackDown? But why would that happen? And would the other one be drafted to Raw? Right now, it looks like they're both going to show up on Raw and still be together. I'm surprised. I would think that they would be separated at one point, since they've been linked together for their entire WWE career and really their entire careers in general. But we'll have to see where that goes. Maybe we'll get more answers tonight on Monday Night Raw. Then after that, we had Palomar College alumni Nia Jax taking on Alexa Bliss for the Raw Women's Championship in kind of like the SmackDown Live Tag Team Championship match, one of the more uneventful matches of the night. And this match went a little bit too long, in my opinion, went about 10 minutes. Really, Nia Jax should have made short work of Alexa Bliss, but at least she did win the match. Nia Jax beating Alexa Bliss after a Samoan drop from the second rope, picking up the pinfall victory, easy for me to say, and winning the Raw Women's Championship. And Nia Jax getting her WrestleMania moment. And then we had AJ Styles taking on Shinsuke Nakamura in the WWE WWE Championship match, a match that we've been waiting for months. for really ever since Shinsuke made his way to WWE, the dream match. And did it live up to the expectations? Did it live up to the hype of a dream match? Not quite, actually. Depends on your perspective. But I would say this match, it was weird. It was very slow and plodding in the beginning portions of it. Really didn't get turned up until about 15 minutes in or so. I feel like these guys, kind of like with the cruiserweights earlier on in the night, a lot of rest holds, a lot of interesting submission wrestling. AJ Styles getting Shinsuke Nakamura locked in, the calf crusher multiple times throughout the match. Didn't have much effect on me, though, since I picked Shinsuke to win the match. I didn't think for a second that Shinsuke Nakamura was actually going to tap out to the calf crusher. No way in hell, no way Jose. Shout out to NXT superstar, no way Jose. But I didn't see Shinsuke losing like that. And there wasn't a lot of finishers in this match. I thought we would see multiple Kinshasa running knees from Shinsuke Nakamura, and we would see multiple phenomenal forearms and styles clashes from AJ Styles, but it wasn't a finisher fest. That was saved for the main event, which we'll get more into a little bit from now. But yeah, it wasn't a finisher fest, and it didn't quite live up to the hype, in my opinion. I'm not sure why that was. I'm not sure why the match was so slow at the beginning. I feel like it could have benefited from maybe a little bit more strikes, some more near falls, maybe even some more finishers, but it really didn't get turned up until the last 5 minutes or so. And it was during that time Shinsuke Nakamura, after being locked in the calf crusher by AJ Styles multiple times and refusing to quit, Shinsuke was building up some momentum. He was about to hit a Kinshasa, what would have been the first Kinshasa, his running knee strike in the entire match. He's running to AJ Styles, about to nail knee to face that he's been saying for weeks now. Is saying exactly what he's going to do to AJ Styles. That AJ Styles, he's too emotional. And the calm, cool, collected demeanor of Shinsuke Nakamura and his knee were going to win him the WWE Championship. So he's running to nail AJ Styles with it. But then AJ Styles, he ducks under it. And in a beautiful reversal, probably the best wrestling moment of the night, AJ Styles ducks under it and like almost rolls over Shinsuke Nakamura, grabs him by the torso, and then gets him in position for the Styles Clash out of nowhere. And AJ Styles, he had hit a phenomenal forearm earlier in the match. Shinsuke Nakamura kicked out, but this was the first Styles Clash that he hit in the entire match. And just like that, 1, 2, 3. Shinsuke Nakamura getting pinned by AJ Styles in what I thought was a very, very surprising ending, considering that we've heard rumblings of AJ Styles nursing an injury heading into this match. A lot of people thinking, myself included, he's going to take time after this match, and it gives Shinsuke Nakamura time to face a new opponent heading out of WrestleMania. It just seemed like the time to give Shinsuke Nakamura the world title. He faced Jinder Mahal for it at last year's SummerSlam. He came up short. He faced Jinder again at Hell in a Cell, I believe. He came up short. And now he won this year's Royal Rumble match. It seemed like all the stars were aligned. And Shinsuke Nakamura was going to win the WWE Championship. But that wasn't what happened. Shinsuke Nakamura, he did not win the WWE Championship this match, but in an event that a lot of people are calling more entertaining than the match itself, which, as I mentioned earlier, was a weird match, a lot slower than I expected it to be. Shinsuke Nakamura, him and AJ Styles, they're both heroic characters. They're baby faces, if you will. And for Shinsuke Nakamura to show his respect to AJ Styles, he gets the WWE Championship from outside of the ring. He brings it to AJ, and he presents AJ Styles with the championship. He even gets on one knee to give him the championship. It's like he's going to propose to this man. Like, he beat him so good, he wants to marry him now or something. And he holds up the WWE Championship to AJ Styles for AJ to grab. And as AJ grabs the championship, the respect is palpable. You can feel it. These men, they put their bodies through hell for this match, and AJ came out on top. And right when you thought that was it, as soon as he hands off the WWE Championship to AJ Styles, Shinsuke Nakamura with a low blow to AJ and a heel turn by Shinsuke Nakamura, of all people, the man who can hardly speak English, turning into a villain on AJ Styles. He low blows him and starts kicking the crap out of AJ Styles. AJ just laying down, withered on the mat, and Shinsuke Nakamura yelling at him in Japanese. And this was shocking. I did not see this coming at all. From all the heel turns that people were predicting for this night, myself included, predicting guys like Shane McMahon to go heel, maybe even Cedric Alexander to go heel after what I thought was going to be a loss to Mustafa Ali for the Cruiserweight Championship. Nobody was picking Shinsuke Nakamura to go heel, but that's exactly what happened after nailing that low blow, kicking the crap out of AJ Styles. And Shinsuke Nakamura, I guess SmackDown has a new top heel, and it's a better heel than Jinder Mahal, I'll tell you that. And with Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens possibly going to Raw, it makes a lot of sense that SmackDown would need to get a new heel. But I'm conflicted about this because, as I mentioned, Shinsuke Nakamura, he can't really speak English all that well. As a villain, you got to be able to talk the talk. You got to be able to talk smack to the audience. And I've heard people say, well, he'll let his actions speak for him. He'll be a silent assassin kind of character. But if he does that, to me, he's just going to end up getting cheered again, because that's what happens with those kind of characters. Look at Goldberg. Look at Randy Orton in 2010. These guys were silent assassin characters in the audience. They loved them. So I'm not sure what this really accomplishes here besides filling a role for a new top bad guy on SmackDown. But Shinsuke, I kind of feel like he should have gotten the WWE Championship here. I think he should have beaten AJ Styles, and you ride Shinsuke Nakamura out more as a hero, as a babyface, because he's over as hell. The audience loves him. They don't want to boo him. And what do you do about this guy's entrance now? Do you change it up completely? Because right now, Shinsuke Nakamura's got a rock star entrance. He comes out, he's dancing or gyrating, whatever you want to call it. He's doing his thing. And so what do you do now? Does Shinsuke Nakamura not do that anymore? Does he do it in a heelish way? I feel like Shinsuke Nakamura has to make some serious changes to his character now, maybe even come out wearing black tights instead of red. I don't know, but this was an interesting decision, a peculiar decision by WWE to turn Shinsuke here and not have him win the WWE Championship. And we will have to see how that pans out. But AJ Styles, remarkably, defending his championship successfully against Shinsuke Nakamura. And now for the main event of the night, a spot some people thought should have gone to AJ Styles and Nakamura, maybe to Daniel Bryan returning. A lot of people, they wanted to see any other match but this in the main event. But sure enough, it was Roman Reigns taking on Brock Lesnar for the Universal Championship in Roman Reigns' fourth straight. That's right, fourth straight WrestleMania main event, and everybody and their mother was picking Roman Reigns to win this match. It seemed like it just made the most sense. We're hearing rumblings of Brock Lesnar returning to the UFC after this, his WWE contract expiring. He signed a 3-year deal back after WrestleMania 31 in 2015. That's coming to an end pretty soon, so it made sense. Brock Lesnar has been champion for over a year now, since WrestleMania 33. He never is on television to defend the title. A lot of times, you just don't have a world title on Raw because Lesnar only shows up a handful of times a year. And he's been the champion for so long, the aforementioned rumblings of him going to UFC. So it made perfect sense for Roman Reigns to win the title tonight. And he didn't. Roman Reigns, he lost. And for a second, hell froze over. Time stuck still because Roman Reigns somehow, someway lost to Brock Lesnar when everything else was pointing to a Roman Reigns victory. And I'm not going to lie, I don't like to talk negatively. I like to stay on the positive side, as you just heard with me discussing Braun Strowman and Nicholas winning the Raw Tag Team Championships. But this match is bad. For a WrestleMania main event, this match was bad. The crowd was chanting at points, "This is awful," and CM Punk, basically chanting for things that were completely unrelated to the match. I think WWE even muted the audience for a bit when Roman Reigns came out, just to mute some of the boos, because this guy's always showered in boos, especially with these international crowds. And it just wasn't good. It was very repetitive. It's what Brock Lesnar usually does, a couple suplexes, couple F5s. And as we saw last year's WrestleMania, that can be good. With Brock Lesnar and Goldberg, when it's short and sweet and impactful, it can be really, really good and a lot of fun. But here, considering who he was facing, Roman Reigns, it wasn't fun because No one wanted to see Roman Reigns win. It was super predictable to see Roman Reigns win because you're thinking, okay, no matter what Brock Lesnar does, Reigns is going to kick out of it. He's going to find a way. And at one point throughout the match went about 15 minutes. Lesnar had already hit Reigns with 5 F5s. That's right, 5 of his finishing moves. A finishing move with one of them that's taken out superstars like Braun Strowman, like Samoa Joe. And he's hit Roman Reigns with 5 of them. And Roman Reigns is still kicking out. And at that point, you're throwing your hands in the air. You're like, I'm not even into this. This is just, and the audience sure as hell wasn't. They weren't into the near falls. They were just like, oh, this is lame. Roman Reigns is going to keep kicking out. And Roman Reigns, he nailed Brock Lesnar with his fair share of finishing moves, hit him with about 5 Superman punches, 3 right out of the gate as soon as the match started. And he hit him with a couple spears. Even at one point, Roman Reigns, it looked like to me, he was split open, bleeding by Brock Lesnar the hard way, legitimately, with some stiff elbows. I was talking to station manager Zeb earlier about it. He said it looked like it was a blade job, like Roman Reigns purposely cut himself. I didn't see that personally. That's a debate for another day. It looked like to me it was Brock Lesnar just splitting him open. We've seen that at SummerSlam 2016 when he did that to Randy Orton. So it's not the first time we would see Brock Lesnar split someone open with his elbow shots legitimately. So that's what I think happened there. Roman Reigns, point is, bleeding buckets towards the end of the match. He was bleeding buckets, and Reigns going for another spear, a final spear, but Lesnar picking him up on his shoulders once again, hitting a 6 F5, and I kid you not, Brock Lesnar defeating Roman Reigns to defend his Universal title successfully. The one-year reign continues, and I was flabbergasted. What does this mean for Raw? What does this mean for the Universal Championship? What does this mean for Roman Reigns? He was defeated, beat bloody in this match. This match left no door open for a rematch. So where does Reigns go from here? Is he in some kind of trouble? Is he suspended maybe? Did another wellness policy violation come out? Was there something was there something to those steroid allegations with him and John Bravo that we heard about a few weeks ago with him possibly being involved in that steroid scandal? What does this mean? Overall, not a very good match between Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns, but a shocking ending to WrestleMania 34 indeed. And overall, what I thought was a really, really damn good Mania, arguably the best WrestleMania since WrestleMania 30, maybe even better for the sheer amount of things that were on this card. So much on this card, from Ronda Rousey making her in-ring debut to Daniel Bryan making his in-ring return to unpredictable, shocking finishes like Asuka losing, John Cena getting squashed, AJ Styles retaining his title, and Lesnar of all people retaining their title. This was a stacked card with unpredictable finishes and really something for everyone. And it was a WrestleMania for the ages. So that just about does it for me here on Willpower Radio. Thank you for tuning into another edition of Willpower Radio here on KKSM. And if you like the show, check out the Facebook page. It's facebook.com/Willpower Radio Show 1. And also check out the Instagram page. It's instagram.com/Will Glasband. That's instagram.com/Will Glasband, GLASBAND, for some behind the scenes looks at KKSM, and also more information regarding Willpower Radio if you want to read some blogs written by me regarding WWE and the world of pro wrestling. So I will see you guys next time the bell rings here on KKSM, the Radio Revolution.